Thank you very much for being with us this evening. Do you know, I was listening to Jen Jordan. She's the former Georgia senator who testified to the grand jury, and she said today that she felt in recent months like she'd been living through a period of national gaslighting. And for her, this picture is the beginning of accountability. I guess there will be many people who feel like that.
Well, it's interesting that there, as we expected, two very polarized responses to this mugshot. As you said, the first American president ever to have a criminal mugshot. One group is saying he's a criminal. It's about time he was treated like a criminal. He's got a mugshot that shows he's a criminal and no one is above the law. There's another group that is saying he's a victim of political persecution. And as mentioned, he's already using his mugshot on social media, and he's claiming election interference, which some commentators are saying is a bit ironic since he's being criminally indicted for election interference. He is raising money, as he has done with his previous 3 indictments, and he's also selling Trump-branded merchandise, so one can buy a Trump T-shirt for $36. And he's also raised millions of dollars with these appeals following his indictments, including this latest one.
As you suggest, the campaign are really reacting to the hand they've been dealt, and we know what the theme will be, as you say. It'll be, he needs your help, he's fighting for you. But it is working when you look at the polls. Every one of these indictments has led to another increase in his lead over the other 8 candidates.
And that raises an interesting question. Why is that if the facts as presented are accurate and court after court after court has shown that the facts that he and his teams have presented are incorrect? Why do people still follow him? There was a very interesting article recently asking that question, and the answer that they came up with was that Donald Trump is more trusted by people than their family members and their religious leaders. So many are calling this basically the different kind of religious cult, in that they're following him, even though the facts indicate that he has, in fact, committed crimes.
Even those who were on stage in Milwaukee on Tuesday night. I want to talk about what comes next, because already we're looking ahead to... Let's talk about Monday, first of all, because Mark Meadows, who's the Chief of Staff, he is trying to get this switch from state court to federal court. He plays a big part in this role because not only was he connecting people between the White House and Georgia, but he was also there in Cobb County when they were checking the signatures. So he has a big role to play. How likely is it, do you think, that he would get this switch to federal court, given that he was a former federal employee?
Well, it's interesting. There are conditions to have a case removed from state court to federal court. And in this instance, the criteria he needs to meet is that, in fact, the activities he was doing, as you mentioned, traveling to Georgia, being on the call, organizing the call and being on the call with President Trump when Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger was asked to find votes. The question will be, were those behaviors and actions taken as part of his role as a chief of staff? I think that many legal people believe that that will be a very hard bar to climb over, in that election interference, as has been claimed, is not part necessarily of a chief of staff's role.
So you're arguing that they would see it as him inserting himself into this process as part of the campaign. Would they also perhaps say, well, you're not a federal employee now, and that is the point. You're being tried as an ordinary citizen in a state court.
That's correct. But the actions that he took at the time were when he was chief of staff to then President Trump. So even though he's not a federal employee now, when he did these actions, he was a federal employee, and he will be held to that standard. OK, significant, of course, because were he to win on Monday, then, of course, you would expect Donald Trump and those who were in the administration to also follow suit. The other thing I wanted to ask you before I let you go is this appeal that Kenneth Cheeseborough made yesterday to have the date of the trial set for October the 23rd, which, of course, is completely antithesis to the strategy of Donald Trump. He wants to delay and delay and delay. It seems to me that Fani Willis, the district attorney, has called his bluff. What was the strategy, and is she ready to go
to try 19 people all on the same day and in the same trial?
Well, to give this context, Attorney Cheeseborough, who was in the employ of Donald Trump, is alleged to have orchestrated the scheme for fake electors in Georgia. And yes, it's scheduled for October 23rd. And Fani Willis said she wanted to try all 19 defendants on that day. The court said for this purpose, they are looking for the speedy trial for him alone. Now, between now and October 23rd, there will be a lot of legal maneuvering. There will be an arraignment. There will be discovery. There will be pretrial motions, and we can expect other defendants to try to submit motions to sever their cases separate from Attorney Cheeseborough, including President Trump, who Fani Willis has scheduled for a March 2024 trial, but he is trying to have his trial not take place until after the 2024 election.
Yeah, going to be really interesting whether there's a split between the group and, of course, whether any of the group might turn state witness and give evidence against former Donald Trump. All that still to play for. It is certainly interesting to watch. Christine Spadafor, lovely to talk to you. Thank you for coming on.
Pleasure. Thank you.